So hello, my name's Rob and this is Cattle Rabbit Scale Model Studios, and in this video I'm going to be taking a piece off my Moor Grunter and showing you how I've turned it into this brilliant kind of dusty, weather beaten, Grimdark kind of metal. It's really beginner friendly, really easy to do. It gives a great effect. There's loads of optional steps you can do and there's not many mistakes you can make. So we're just going to dive in and get started. So I've got the shoulder pad here. If you don't have a silver spray, I would suggest spraying it something like a grey or a Xanadu dust, something really mid-tony, and then painting it your silver of choice. I, however, am going to skip this step because I'm just going to spray it with lead belcher. Another good one, Colour Forge Soul Forge Silver is another great silver that I often use. This is the first step. We're done. We're nearly halfway there already. That's how easy this method is. Just make sure it's got a really good solid coat and that it's got a nice finish. The first thing we are going to do though, paint wise, and a little tip for you, I turn bases upside down and I use them as little palettes. We're going to get Mournfang Brown. Now I'm going to give my paint a little shake, and then what I'm going to do is, using this knackered old brush, I'm just a little tiny bit is all we need. I'm just going to kind of dob it in there, and I'm going to get some water on my brush, just a brush full of water, and I'm just going to mix it all in. Now, normally they say when you thin your paint, you're looking for the consistency of milk. It doesn't matter what you do here. I actually made this a bit too thin, and as you can see, as I start to pull it around, the paint starts to separate. The plan is here, although I'm going to be painting all of this, I'm not trying to make it brown. What I'm trying to do is get it to sit in all of the little bumps and crevices in the armour. So even if you make your paint too watery, doesn't matter. You can just give it a quick blast with a hairdryer, and this will dry really quickly with a hairdryer. I'm talking like 3 or 4 seconds, it will dry it out. Then apply another coat. I actually went over this, I think about 2 times, and I ended up with this. Obviously, you can still see some of that slight shimmer of the silver coming through. This is exactly what we want. Or you can go really, really heavy with it and make it just a bit more kind of, I guess, dirty. I'm going to get some Mournfang. I'm mixing it in that palette with hardly any water, as you can see. And I'm just going to dob it. And you can tell by the state of my brush here, it's knackered. We're just going to go into the little kind of deep recesses, and I'm just going to dob it in there. Don't worry, we're not trying to build up a transition or anything fancy. We're just jabbing colour into the deepest part of it, because that's what's going to give us that dusty effect. Now, obviously, this bit I'm doing here is optional. You don't need to come in with some more colour if you don't want to. And that's what we're left with. In all honesty, you could stop there and that would be good enough. However, optionally, if you wanted to, I've got some Scrag Brown, and this is just a great example of how forgiving this is. This is like butter in here because I didn't close the paint pot properly at the end of the year, and it's like a paint butter is the only way I can describe it. But I'm just going to scrape some off, get a little bit of water. Same again, I'm going to mix it on this little palette, and then just on the deepest parts of this, I'm just going to dob it in. Again, completely optional. The after effect is really subtle, but I always think it's the little details, and as I'm doing a bit of a bigger piece, I kind of want to push it a little bit further. But this is kind of like a cheating pushing because it's just really easy to do. So once you're happy with how it all looks, and as you can see, there it is. Again, you could just leave it there. You can still see the silver shining through, and if you're going for a heavy, dusty and rusted effect, this would be perfect. However, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a nice big dry brush. I'm using this big chunky one from Artify. Anything with really big wide bristles, fantastic. And I'm going to be using Necron Compound, which is a dry paint from Citadel. Now, I'm usually not a fan of these, and if you don't want to, just use lead belcher. Use your original base colour. So whatever silver if you painted it differently from lead belcher, use lead belcher. If not, if you can, I'm not sure if they still sell this. I've had it a while. Necron Compound. You can be really heavy with this, and I am being really heavy with it. But as you can see, all the raised edges, all the little ripples and ridges in the armour are just picking up the colour. So all the dust looks like it's sitting in there, and we're creating a little blend between the silver and those browns, or brown if you've only used the one, doesn't matter. you can be really, really heavy with this and just go over it 2 or 3 times until you're happy with how it looks. I've brought mine right back up to silver as I wanted the dust nut to be really subtle. As you can see here, that's what we've gone for. And next I'm going to use Army Painter Gunmetal. And for this, I'm just going to get a thin layer brush. Again, it doesn't matter if you want to use another brush, if you want to use an old flayed one, it doesn't matter. If you want to dry brush this step, would also work. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to get some on my palette and I'm just going to follow some of the edges. Little dinks here and there, being really picky. I'm not going over all of the edges, all of the highlights. I'm not going to bother. Add little flicks here and there just to simulate deeper scratches, that type of thing. If you're dry brushing it, just be really light and focus on the edges and those, you know, more definite, defined, tongue twister, ridges on the armor panels. And that is literally it. That's all there is to it. We're done. You can go as ham on this as you want, or you can just be as really subtle as you want, and it gives a really good effect. And that's it. That's, you know, job done. I thought this was worth sharing because I thought this was a really good way. I had lots of fun painting this more grunter up, and these look great. I will be doing in the next one the battered yellow armor. As you can see, I've already completed some pieces. I'm going to show you how to get a lovely orangey pro looking gradient really, really easily, so stay tuned for that. But look, that's it from me in this one. I will stop waffling now. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you all next time. God bless and take care.